Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Gus G to the program today. We had a few technical difficulties getting this thing rolling. I appreciate your patience, Gus. How's things in Greece?
No problem, man. Well, yeah, everything is, good here, as good as it can be, given the situation. We're all safe and healthy, just been on lockdown for about a month. And I don't know, where are you calling from? Where are you?
I'm in Vermont, over in the United States, and we're in the same way. We're in a stay-at-home thing. It's relatively low, the numbers here, but we're sort of isolated up here as well, so...
better be, play it safe,
Exactly.
Right now it's pretty insane right now, and I read the news, I keep up with the news every day, and we still have a few weeks to go for this, before it hits the peak, apparently.
I gotta ask this question then to lead in. What is the, apart from music and touring and stuff, what is sort of an everyday thing that you are looking forward to doing the most once this is all passed?
Nothing really. I mean, to me, I miss, seeing some friends, obviously, and hanging out a little bit outside. But for me, life back home when I'm not on tour is not much different than what it is now. I mean, I'm mostly staying at home, and I got all I need here.
Right.
I'm here with my wife and our cats and stuff, so I got everything I need here.
So you're sort of built for this.
What's that?
You're sort of built for this then,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But, it's just like, I think it's more like a psychological thing where you are, it can mess with your mind a little bit. Oh, we can't go outside because why this and why aren't we allowed and all these things, and it's, until they ban stuff from you, they forbid stuff from you, that's when you're like, start having all these questions, but you just gotta stay calm, basically, just sit through this, maybe I would like to take a long hike, a long walk outside, probably when we can do this, when we can go out again.
Well, let's talk about this new Firewind album. It's coming out May 15th on AFM Records, 11 songs. Assuming the release date and everything is still intact?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Cool. I read where this sort of came together rather quickly for you.
The album, you mean?
Yeah, the album.
Not really, no.
Actually, you know what? No, I had skipped ahead. I'm sorry. I skipped ahead in my notes. You have a new vocalist for this album. Herbie, that you got, and once he got involved, things moved rather quickly. You had the music and stuff set up, and it was the vocal part he did rather quickly. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead on my notes.
No problem. That is correct, actually. Yeah. The thing with the vocals is that Herbie came in sometime in December, and we had this is pre-coronavirus situation, so. We had a deadline, I think, February to deliver a mix and master. And while we did have the music recorded and written and everything, we did not have vocal lines and lyrics for most of the songs. So it was a pretty stressful situation. But we managed, and it was a good collaboration with Herbie, and there was a good writing chemistry between us, so... Yeah.
Now, did you have the lyrics read, or did he contribute at all, or was it up to him just to interpret?
Oh, yeah, no, I wrote 3 songs, and the rest was Herbie, both me and Dennis Ward, who helped us produce the album, we helped a little bit to kind of do some small corrections here and there, but the rest was just all Herbie.
Cool. And tell us a little bit about the cover art. That's pretty cool. I'm going to try and pronounce his name. I know it's Gustavo?
Yeah, Gustavo Sazes, yeah.
Okay.
He is a Brazilian artist that we've been working with for, I think, 13 years now. He's done everything since the Premonition album for us. And, cover artwork, websites, backdrops, merchandise, like the whole visuals. He's our guy.
Cool. And go ahead.
No, regarding the cover artwork, we wanted like a very type of like symbolic type of cover, sort of like rising through the ashes type of cover, you know, like, because it is our birth of the band. So yeah, so we redesigned our symbol a little bit, you know, a bit more edgy, and it's like this metal Firewind symbol rising through burning lava, which, if you ask me, is pretty damn metal.
Yeah, absolutely. Introduce us to the bass player and the drummer, because I don't want to mispronounce their name either.
Johan Nunes on the drums and Petros Christo on the bass. Right. And yeah, these guys have been in the band for a long time. I mean, Petros has been with us. He's like the longest member after me, basically. I think since Burning Earth album, the second one. And Joe, he's been in the band for 9 years now. Yeah.
Nice. You went with a little less keyboard approach on this album, a little more guitars, correct?
Yeah. I mean, Bob quit the band, and like I said before, it was a time to sort of reset the band, sort of push the reset button and reintroduce, reapproach the sound, the style of the band, and that meant also a bit less keyboards. I mean, I still like keyboards, and as you heard, I still use keyboards on the production and on our sound, but just less, you know. And the guitar just cuts through a bit more now. Yeah.
Let's jump into a couple of the songs. I was fortunate enough, Dustin sent me a link so I could preview the album. Excellent album. Once again, 11 tracks. The first song, Welcome to the Empire. I love the way that opened up. I could see that being like a show opener, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, when I heard the song, I knew right away this would be a great opening for the album. Obviously, you know, with a long acoustic intro and building up the melodies, and then, you know, building into the song basically. But I can totally see that, opening the shows as well.
Yeah. Then the song Devour. Love the way the drums just attack from the beginning. My note here says a cross between a hornet's nest and a machine gun attack, that song. Real aggressive, good stuff. Wow. Can you tell me a little bit about how that one came together?
Well, this type of tracks we have almost on every Firewind record. It's this type of triplet feel, type of machine gun like riffs. We always have one of those songs like that, and for me it's sort of very easy to come up with stuff like that, similar stuff like that. And this track just has really high energy, really cool riffing, and it's one of the more intricate type of tracks, because there's like more like adventurous arrangement, if you like. You know, there's a lot of soloing parts and all these things, but at the same time very melodic. And also another thing about this track is this was the first song that I wrote together with Herbie. Like, that was the first song that I sent him, and I was like, do you mind, trying something over one of the new tracks when I was trying him out for the band. And I sent him the music to this, and like the next day he sent me back a demo back with the vocal lines as you basically hear them now. Slightly different lyrics, but these vocal lines. And I was right there and then, to me, that was like, okay, this is how Firewind should be sounding. This is like a great representative of, for the sound and the style of the band.
Yeah. Jump ahead to Breakaway. Now, Gus, I'll admit, I know nothing about music and how it's created. I can't play any instruments. I'm real good at playing CDs and talking, but when it comes to music, so I may ask you some, what you would consider, I don't know, maybe foolish questions, but in Breakaway, I love the way the vocal sounds like he's kind of singing underwater, is the way it sounded to me. And then, of course, you got the long solo, which is awesome. And then I love the ending, the fade out on the ending. And you've got a couple of tracks that do that. My first question would be, what sort of effect is on the vocal in that track?
You know what? I don't know. I think that's something that the mixer added. I think it's a chorus effect. You're right. It has this kind of like underwater type of effect, almost like this lo-fi kind of wet type of sound. Yeah. I think that's like a combination of effects, like a lo-fi a filter maybe with a chorus. Yeah, that creates this.
Okay. And then the ending with that fade out that's kind of, it's not your traditional sort of fade. Is that something that you do, or is that up to the mixer as well?
No, I did that. I mean, I used actually what you call a pitch shifter pedal. So I'm playing this outro lead when the band, when we hit the final chord, and then, it jumps up like an octave from what I played, so that's why you get all this crazy type of guitar sound. And then as I pushed the pedal off, it created this kind of effect where it's just like slowly kind of like detuned back into normal, and then from there it's a fade out.
Oh, cool. All my techie friends are going to love that, because they're going to know exactly what you're talking about, Let's see, what is the other one? Overdrive. You did have some keys in this one, I'm hearing. Am I hearing keys correctly in this one?
Absolutely, yeah.
And what I liked about this track was, and I'm always hesitant to compare artists to other bands because I don't want to like make them mad or anything, but I'm hoping I'm in these complimentary. I could hear like a Whitesnake vibe and part of this. Then in the middle part where it drops into solo, you're almost going like a Priest vein, and then back into that Whitesnake vibe for the ending. Am I hearing any of that correctly?
Not necessarily, but I get like the classic heavy metal resemblance there that you were describing. For me, like where I'm coming from is more like Dio, Holy Diver, Black Sabbath, Headless Cross era, that kind of vibe. But yeah, the middle part is very like Judas Priest, Accept, like, so all the stuff is in there, man. I mean, this is like, all this stuff is in my blood, all this classic metal stuff. So it's kind of natural. Like, so whether it's one band that you say or another one, it doesn't matter because I love all these bands,
Cool. All My Life, great message. Particularly, for these times almost. And I've been interviewing a bunch of artists, whose songs are almost like prophetic to come along, because they were obviously written before this Corona thing came along. What can you tell me about All My Life? Is that your lyrics, Herbie's?
It's Herbie's lyrics, yeah. Well, it's about basically a guy who's, kind of like, sort of, when you're destined to do something in your life, something that is of significance, basically, so, or something that is important. That's what the song is about.
Yeah, good stuff. And then the last track, I always listen to the last track intently. I give it what I call my last song test, see if the band is still trying as hard on the last track as they are the first. Kill the Pain, you killed it on this one. My note here says Runaway Locomotive. Great track. Okay. What can you tell me about Kill the Pain?
Thank you. Well, it's an interesting story about this song because it's a little bit of like a full circle. Like this is like, because all the ideas that I write, they're not like stuff that I wrote like a few months ago. I mean, I pile up all these drifts in my hard disk on my computer, and then I always have these ideas laying around, and some songs go back a few years, or ideas, and then I kind of like take them and continue them and complete them. But this one is an interesting story because I recently stumbled upon a very old demo of mine. It was from the Allegiance album back in 2005, those sessions. And for some reason, there was this demo that was left over. It never made it to the album. And I listened back to it. I'm like, wow, I'm playing some pretty cool riffs here. This is like 25-year-old me and listening to that. And so I took a couple of those riffs and I rearranged it, refreshed the song and gave it a new approach. And even in the studio when we were recording the drums, and once you record drums, that's like how the song is going to be. You cannot change it, because that's final. You have to put your guitars over the drum track. So, and there was this long solo section, and we kind of like improvised and wrote that in the studio while we were tracking drums, like in between takes. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that this song has the oldest idea, chronologically. That's the oldest idea of the record, and the newest one, the very last thing that I composed for the record. So there you have it.
Nice bookend there. That's pretty cool. Great story.
Yeah.
Let's take you back a little further. You were talking about going back on that one. Let's go back to your younger days. I read your father was a Greek folk singer. Went out and did that sort of part-time?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's correct.
Did you ever go out with him to any gigs that he did or anything? Or
I used to go, yeah. I mean, maybe once a month we used to go to watch him play, and then just whatever, like go out to dinner with the family, and then my dad would sing in some wedding or something. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Was this before or after you found Frampton Comes Alive in his record collection?
I think that was right before, and then after I found out about Peter Frampton, I never wanted to go to those Greek weddings anymore.
So obviously finding that album, hearing the Talkbox on Do You Feel Like We Do, that was sort of your aha, this is what I want to do with my life moment?
You know, it's kind of interesting, like when you're a kid, like you visualize like this, you know, you have this kind of picture in your head. You don't really know what it is, you know. I didn't really know what a rock and roll concert is, or like, but you sort of like visualize standing up there somewhere on a stage and playing, you know, in front of people, and it's like that kind of thing where you don't know why and what exactly all that is, and but there's this urge, like, okay, this I need to learn how to do. I need to get to that, you know, somehow, and that means I need to learn how to play the guitar, and then once you pick up a guitar, I mean, to me that became an obsession, you know, that was it.
The other question I got to ask, I'm always fascinated with musicians like you who have played with so many different artists and so many different projects. How do you keep it all straight in your brain? I mean, did you ever up in a Firewind show and all of a sudden Killer of Giants pops into your head or something, you know? How do you keep them all straight, you know?
No, I'm pretty focused when I play the shows, you know. You know, like the songs, we've done it so many times and we rehearse and we play so many shows that, you know, this is like, what do you call it, like a second nature thing.
You're right.
So it's,
Becomes almost like a muscle memory.
I can play the show, even like there could be shows where we have lots of technical difficulties and the sound on stage is total crap, and, you know, you even have like this sort of muscle, you know, you have to develop muscle memory. That's very important. Yep. So like if something goes wrong, you can still continue the gig and sort of, roll through the set list, and hopefully nobody notices that you're having a hard time up there.
And then with your set list, do you craft those as well to sort of ebb and flow, sort of like you do a track listing on an album for a live show?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, we have like some set list variations, and you know, that's also trial and error. You try also, especially when you make a new album and you introduce like a bunch of new songs to an audience, and you see what works and what doesn't, and eventually, like halfway through the tour, some songs drop off the set list, and then, you know what I mean? Like you see how the show flows, you know, as you go along on the tour, and then eventually you get to a point where, okay, now we have it, you know, and then that's it.
Very cool. Gus, I always like to end my interviews with sort of some fun questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never even been asked before. Sound good?
Let's see. Yeah, let's do it.
If you could blink and appear anywhere in the world, where would you like to go?
You mean right now?
Sure.
Or
at any point.
I don't know. I mean, like it's an interesting question, because for me it would be nice if I'm somewhere on tour, and then I could just blink my eye and then go back to after the show and then be back at home.
Be back home? Yeah.
Yeah, and just, you know, sleep in my own bed instead of on a bunk on a bus. Then the next day blink again and then go back to whatever city I need to play or whatever country.
That's a great answer. I've never gotten that one before. That's a good question. That's a good answer.
I'm sure at some point we'll get there. Maybe not in our lifetime, but I'm sure like all this what do you call it? Like it's called what do you call it? Teletransporting.
Yeah, there you go.
They're going to invent that at some point, yeah.
Favorite superhero?
I always liked Superman since I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go the opposite direction. Favorite villain?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll let you think about that one.
I have to think about this. I have to kind of like dig out memories when I was a kid. I don't remember.
All right, well, let's take you back to your childhood for one more thing. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Oh, you know, I used to collect the wrestling figures, the WWF.
Really?
Remember those? Yeah. I used to collect those when I was a kid. I still have them, actually.
All right, that leads me right into this one then. Favorite old school wrestler?
I was always, I think, Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
And the Ultimate Warrior. I think those two were my favorite ones.
Okay. Would you rather have gills so that you could swim underwater all day, or wings so you could fly?
Wings so I could fly.
Wings so you could fly. Other than your own music, what's the last piece of music you listened to?
I probably listened to for probably the millionth time. I listen to the Blade Runner soundtrack.
Okay. If you could pick a TV show to have a Firewind song placed in, what TV show would you like to see it in?
Something that's really popular, maybe, so we can get a lot of royalties out of it.
All right. Last one, and this is the one we have the most fun with, and I was asking this long before all the biopics came out. If they were to make a movie of your life, what actor would you have portray you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life, you can pick anybody.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Scarlett Johansson?
Okay. All right. Just to get us back to music, what makes a great guitarist?
Well, I think, in my opinion, it's the tone, the note choice, the sense of musicality and melody in his playing. Yeah.
Okay. Gus G from Firewind. Check out their new album coming out May 15th on AFM Records. Been chatting with Gus here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. You can get the album at all the available outlets once it comes out. Once again, May 15th on AFM, and it's called Firewind, 11 tracks. Great album, Gus. Be proud. Excellent work.
Thank you so much, Lance.
Thank you. Man. Thank you for your time, and thank you for bearing with me through the beginning of this.
It's all good, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.